So it's the end of the year and you're still not fluent. You've done the immersion, you've done the Anki flashcards, you've done everything, but why do you still feel like you're not improving? So I've been stuck in this plateau for many months/years, if we're being specific. No matter how many hours I poured into my Chinese learning, 我的水平就没有提高. But hey, don't sweat it. It's the end of 2024 and 2025 is our year. And also along the way, I'll also be bringing you around London so I can finish my Chinese essay.
大家好，konnichiwa, hajimemashite. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. 秋啊，날씨가요 아닙니다. It's freezing. But 今天我们有一个很有趣的旅行，我们去探索伦敦。所以现在 I'm walking to the 地图站. I have an essay that I need to write. My skincare is a bit off. You can see my eye bag. That's because the skincare products have literally frozen. It is so long.
So I watch a lot of native level content in Chinese, and it's come to the point where I create separate YouTube accounts for every language that I want to learn. Don't ask me about my watch time. I feel it when you say, I've done everything, but I still can't progress. Because why? Even when I'm soaking in all this language, why is it still empty? 是空. Watching native content alone won't help you progress. It's kind of like jumping into the deep end of a swimming pool without knowing how to swim. Like man, you're gonna end up wrinkled and dead. So, the guru's lying to you. I mean, you hear them yapping about immersion and all that all the time. Have I wasted hours of watching content I don't understand when I could be playing my Genshin Impact? Let's unpack it. There's two types of immersion. There's comprehensible input. This is input that's a little bit above your level and you should be able to understand like 70 to 80%. And then there's naturalistic input, which is basically native level content that I don't understand, but it's what I like to watch.
我听中文的 podcast， 中文可以无孔不入。融入 Anyway, permeate into my mind 是 immersion.
So what should you listen to? The trick is you should balance the two. The majority of your time should be spent on comprehensive input. It doesn't have to be baby content. They can be beginner level podcasts on YouTube and they actually talk about interesting topics like culture, but in very simple terms. You should also have naturalistic input for motivation, a constant reminder of the level that you want to be at. But remember that any input lays the foundation for your language learning, and it's totally okay to not understand everything now. Just let your brain soak it in and get used to the sounds.
我们到了 King's Cross 很有名的地方，因为是 Harry Potter 9 3/4 的地图站。我的中学是 Hogwarts， 你们不知道，因为你是 Muggles。我们第一个地方是伦敦最大的图书馆，而且是免费的。
Next up, a hot take. You can't flashcard your way to fluency. Not unless you bear some key things in mind. I was a desperate gal. After years of being groomed in Chinese school, I finally decided it was my time to take the leap into the unknown and self-study on my own. By the way, I had a 3-year hiatus of constant computer science grind before going back to Chinese, and I had no idea where to start. I turned to YouTube advice, and you know what they say? Anki, space repetition, Quizlets, do your flashcards every day.
I've been kicked out. 没有地方可以坐 It was literally fell on students. 我以为 British Library 是最浪漫、最大、最 beautiful 的，不是。你只可以看到学生很努力读书。One advantage 一个好处是给我一些动力，但是 why do I have to work out in the cold outside? Anyways, 我们要做一些暗记。
If those words didn't make any sense to you, like what the hell is space repetition? Well, don't worry. It's a very fancy way of just saying review words when you're just about to forget them. And it's actually a scientifically proven method. So tell me, why have I still not seen progress? So unfortunately, I'm here to break it to you that you can't solely rely on flashcards.
你 outside 的时候，你没有 WiFi， 没有 internet connection， 还有你不可以 charge， 所以 need to make sure 是 fully charged 100%。
Making flashcards for every new words that you're going to encounter is just kind of setting yourself up to failure. Because let's be honest, you know nothing unless you change the mentality behind how you make flashcards. Be selective. Only pick words that you're going to use in real life scenarios. And every time I watch a piece of content, I only choose 5 new words or phrases that I'm going to use and put in my flashcards. 2, add multimedia. Make your flashcards pretty. I know some of you are like, nah, I want the efficiency. But pictures are really good for your brain. You like visual things. And a hack is search the term in your target language on Google Images because there are some cultural differences. This uniqueness just makes it easier for your brain to remember. And number 3, put your words in context. So put the words in sentences. In Anki, you can use closed deletions. That just means you fill in the blank. It's a fill in the blank game every time you review. You know, very fun. And as you do this, you can also learn the grammar as well as your vocabulary. Number 4, say it out loud because you can also practice your pronunciation. I want to speak it, so you gotta practice moving your mouth.
现在学的字在我的 Anki deck 是下定决心。在 British Library 你要下定决心，因为你要很早找一个坐的位置。I don't know how this vocabulary is going to help me write my essay about food, but it is what it is.
You have all these nice flashcards, but then there's an issue. You have one card that's about char siu, and the other one is about like AI. You know, it just doesn't fit. One of you guys suggested categorize your cards into topics and then review them separately. You know, this sounds simple, but I don't think like that, okay? So thank you. So the takeaway, after mastering the most frequent words, you want to start making your own flashcards that are personal to you. I don't care if you're taking an exam, you gotta make them matter to you. And so now we found the right content and we've made beautiful flashcards. All we gotta do is just study 10 hours every day, right? That's how we get it in here. Do you think I'm capable of that? So I used to think, if you stop studying for one day, you're gonna lose all your progress. Yeah, that is toxic. You gotta defenestrate that thought. But maybe you felt it too, that dread when you're like, crap, I've missed a study day. And also, if you're a Duolingo fan, it doesn't make it easier because when you miss a day, you get like Duolingo pings saying like, get your ass back on the app. So I deleted Duolingo after a 200-day streak. I really wanted to make it 365, but I'm not bringing that energy to 2025. Is there something wrong with us? Are we just incapable of being consistent? You may think that, but the problem is never us. Learning a language is kind of like training a muscle. And you know my favorite gym days? Rest days. You just sit your ass down and somehow the muscles just swell. Could be fat, but never mind. But when we do go to the gym, we have to make sure that our workouts are like focused, right? And we can bring that same vibe to language learning. Each session, it doesn't have to be every single day, but when you do have a session, it gotta be focused. And yes, still exposing yourself to the language as much as possible is great, but you can do this passively. Go on a walk, listen to a podcast, play games in the language, or even talk to yourself for 2 minutes in the mirror. I've seen you. The goal isn't perfect consistency. It's about choosing whether you want to pick yourself up and get back into it. And if you're watching this video so far, I think you got it in you. But now back to me. I was trying to catch up on my Chinese essay and I thought, you know what, I should go back to my old workplace.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Thank you.
But it turns out, my manager has set out some time for us to just have like a discussion, a little catch up, you know, like best friend vibes.
What is up? Hey Yuning, YouTube community, really good to see you. Hope that you're locked into the channel and remember to like and subscribe. Anything that you want to say?
No, I think you said it all.
So I didn't end up studying there. But moments like these are why we choose to learn a language, right? It's to connect with people around us. So if you skipped a day of studying, I wouldn't consider that a failure. Along the way, you may have gained something else. Which brings me to the next hurdle. What happens when things don't go to plan? I see you with your journal and your Notion 2020-25. Planning your next 10 languages you're gonna learn next year. But hold up a sec, alright? Let's try and manage those expectations. So picture 31st of December. This is when we whip out our notebooks. We're ready to tackle the year ahead. In 2020, I literally wrote that I was gonna learn Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Cantonese. Yeah. Did that happen? No. It's 2025. Most people quit their goals in like mid-February. I remember when I used to tell myself, I'm gonna wake up every day and go to the gym at 7 a.m. and become like so hot. January rolls in and the gym is packed with people who have the same goals as me. And I'm looking at all of them and I'm like, who's gonna fold first? Third week of January and I didn't see them again. because I folded. My goal was way too rigid. Like every day, 7 to 8 a.m. So language learning is the same. You might have goals of like, I'm gonna learn all these languages and be conversational in like 2 months. But then reality sets. What does it mean to be conversational? And you're saying, I need to make friends? These obstacles pile up and you just end up giving up.
错过了 Oh my god, I missed the stop. 有太多学生了 Oh my god, 要避免 There is no space. This whole day is just London being way too overpopulated. Man, 时间只是5点钟。可是你看，好暗。平时伦敦不好看。但是因为圣诞节很快到了 Overall is bearable, barely.
So don't get me wrong, it's great to have goals. But here's my take. I think goals should be more like a North Star or like an aim, rather than something so rigid. You should break your goal into like low-lift steps that fit into your life. For example, if you're worried about forgetting vocab, you should just write it in your notebook and just try and use like 3 words a day. If you're worried about pronunciation, do like 2-minute shadowing whenever you can, like in a toilet, when you're pooping. Consistency will become so much easier and you'll start to see progress. So speaking of progress, I try to find another study spot. Then I realized something. I realized that the blog I was following was for university students. And do you know who university students are? Desperate people who wake up at the crack of dawn to go and study for their exams. There was no way my ass was going to get a seat at like 6 p.m. So when things don't go to plan, you just gotta reiterate and it's totally fine.
这不是我本来的目标。这个地方比较少人，而且你可以看到很大的差异。我可以里面做功课。
Maybe you didn't achieve your 2024 goals, but if you progress a little bit, I think that's a win. Like think back to 6 months ago. Where were you then? Maybe you've only taken the first step to start your language learning. That is still progress. Let me know what you guys are proud of this year. Like, what did you achieve? It can be so small. So, I didn't finish my essay, but guess what? I wrote a few sentences. I made some progress. It was a tiring day of walking in the cold, not finding a seat. I met cool people, learned a few new words, and I also accomplished my real goal.
We reached our destination. I'm actually so scared of speaking Zhongwen here because they know my Zhongwen is trash. If I speak Cantonese, 我好驚講中文. Wait, they can speak here. Nowhere is safe.
By the way, I really recommend getting this pandan cake because it's only £1. And you know, this winter, it's hella cold, so anything like that will just make me happy. I don't know about you, but this winter is freezing and maybe you feel like low motivation, you feel stagnant in life. But I just want to tell you that life works in seasons. You know, flowers, they don't bloom every season. And winter is your preparation season. So take your time to just recharge, spend time with family and friends, and just celebrate the new year and Christmas. Language learning is a long-ass journey, and there's many ups and downs, but you don't have to do this alone. We're in this together. If you're thinking of learning Chinese in 2025, I made a guide just for you. As always, I shall see you in the next one.